People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, and I hope you're all doing well and safe. Now at 5:30 Arsenal will play against Wolves, but we'll deal with that in a couple hours. I'll be there to review the game. I've woken up today, or last night, I'm not telling a lie, last night I saw it. Today I'm waking up to a lot of reports. First and foremost, congratulations to Gabriel Martinelli. Sadly, he's injured and will play no part this season, but he's had a terrific rise. I mean, you got to remember, him and Bukayo Saka, the first two games of the season, it was only Nelson and Joe Willock really involved out of the young players, and now both of them have kind of lapped both of them. And Gabriel Martinelli, he had to be patient. He was doing up the subs thing, he was playing cup competitions, but his rise to first team has been good. He's played good in a lot of games. Obviously, he's in double figures when you combine goals and assists, and he's shown that. He's got 10 goals in like 26 appearances. For an 17, 18-year-old coming from Brazil, he's elevated his squad status, and he's one of the players we're looking to build our future around long term. He's someone in the short and medium term fans want to see playing because he's playing well, like Bukayo Saka. Allegedly, it's a 4-year deal with an option of a 5th, and that, on top of Martinelli being good, that's good for me, because obviously if you play well, you deserve renewed terms. Like, let's just say, maybe he was on 4 grand a week. He might be on 40 grand a week now, which is well deserved, and it shows that, if you progress, you will be rewarded with elevated first team status and obviously financial rewards. For Arsenal, obviously we've had him tied down to a similar contract. We just signed my man, but it obviously strengthens our hand. We've given him a new deal, made him feel more important. We've protected our future. We've got a 4-year deal with an option of a 5th. You don't know what happens. I think Martinelli's going to the top, and I do think we're going to have to fend off interest from Real Madrid and Barcelona and these sort of teams one day. So when the time comes and he does move to them clubs, which I believe will be a case, we can get a pretty penny if that happens within the next 5 years. For me as well, because obviously Saka signed a new deal. Saka's come from Haaland, and obviously Gabriel Martinelli's been identified and brought into the club. But that means, whether you're homegrown from London or whatever, or you're from whatever continent in the world, there's a pathway. And, to have 2 of our most senior young players signed, 2 of our best players, obviously Martinelli's injured, Saka's one of the first names on the team sheet right now. For me, it's fantastic for Arsenal fans. Now, moving away from that, Arteta seems quite bullish on giving Aubameyang a new deal, and until Aubameyang signs a new contract, it's all nonsense. But reports coming out from a lot of places is saying, in short, talks, while there's a long way to go in terms of an agreement, terms are being discussed, and it is sounding quite positive, and there is progress being made. Allegedly, he wants 250 a week, 3-year deal. Obviously, he gets I think he's on 200 now. You get an extra 50 odd a week, which he's deserved. There's probably going to be goal scoring bonuses. I'd imagine if I was Aubameyang and his advisors, top goal scorer, I want a couple extra bob if I get top goal scorer in an Arsenal shirt and things like that. For me, give him the contract. Now, of course, if it wasn't Aubameyang, if it was any other player on the wrong side of 30, I would be saying, the wage doesn't really bother me. It's the terms of the deal. Is it worth it? For me, Aubameyang's an exception to the rule, clearly, because one, if we're gonna do this thing where we scout someone that is better, that's gonna be better or levels long term, then cool. And we need to be scouting for Aubameyang's replacement, regardless of if he signs a new deal or not. But for me, obviously, Aubameyang's an exception to the rule for the fact of, we're not going to be able to sign a player that's going to immediately impact and do what Aubameyang does for us for a price that Arsenal can afford based on reports we've seen. For me as well, the age ain't really a thing, because I got it here. Aubameyang's never, I don't want to touch wood and don't want to jinx it, but he's never injured. I know these things are spoken about. What if he gets injured and things can happen? But he's been ever present for Arsenal and ever present for Dortmund, people. So for me, we're not going to get better than what he brings. What he brings to the table can help us. Within 3 years, if he's just here for 2 to 3 years, you'd imagine that's enough time. I'm not going to say to be league winners and champions and stuff, but that's a good time for Arteta to rebuild the team. So if Arteta's rebuilding and training up this young side, we need people that can hit the ground running. And, Aubameyang, within the next 1 to 3 years, if he carries it on, he can, specifically for me, within the next 1 to 2 years, if we fix up the team, improve the spine of the squad and bring in some quality players, then you've got a 20 league goal minimum striker there. You should be able to achieve your goals. I mean, look at Aubameyang's appearances in the past 10 seasons. In 2010-11, he made 33 appearances out of a potential 38. This following season, 36. After that, 37. In 2013-14, 32. 2015, 33. What else? 2014-15 33, 2015-16 31, 2016-17 32, 2017-18 when he moved to Arsenal 29 out of potential 38, 2018-19 36 out of 38, and 2019-20 out of 32 so far. He's played 30, and he's got 20. He's approaching 20 league goals. Hopefully he gets that today against Wolves. He's on 19, probably touching 30 Euro comps. What he gives us and is amazing. In terms of output and doing your job, we're not going to find better. I do think Aubameyang's, again, it's giving us a bit of a blight, because I thought Aubameyang would want closer to Ozil's wages. Maybe, he really wants to stay, and a bit of, he realised how potentially unrealistic getting Ozil's wages are and things. But for me, 250 a week, 3-year deal, and obviously there's going to be probably a lot of bonuses and incentives. It's a no-brainer, really. Unless you're going to bring in someone that's going to immediately do what Aubameyang's doing, it's a no-brainer. And for me, it would send out a good message, because Arsenal ain't where we need to be, and certain people, myself to a degree included, could say Aubameyang might be a bit silly to commit his future if he has a more chance of winning stuff elsewhere. But I mean, to potential targets or players that want away, Arsenal, there's no given success under Arteta, or there's no assurances, but it sends out a message of stability. You've got Arteta on a decent deal, Saka and Martinelli, in addition to potentially Aubameyang signs a new deal. This tells people that they must, even though Arsenal are still a bit of a joke and it's been a bit mad, there might be something to believe in, and that might convince players, whoever you believe they are, that are good enough to stay. That might convince other people to come in, because it gives stability. For me, it would make Arteta's job slightly easier, because Arteta's been very vocal on how we can't be the best team if we can't keep selling our best players, and it'll be creating more problems, because you've got several options. You either let Aubameyang run down his deal, you try to get 20 million or so this year. You go for a young striker that's got the potential to be that but isn't quite there. There's many different options, but I don't think anybody in the short term is going to give us what Aubameyang is going to give us. And for me especially, Mkhitaryan's off the wage book, couple of other players come off the wage book. You'd imagine that we're in a position to offer this unique contract to Aubameyang. Now, like I said, no disrespect, if it was David Luiz, Socrates, people sort of Aubameyang's wages, I wouldn't be saying, away from the gap in class between ability, I would be saying don't give them 3-year deals. But I believe Aubameyang's an exception to the rule, purely because of what he gives us and the statistics. They don't lie. Forgive me, Lacazette, but if it was Lacazette at this age, I'd say let Lacazette go. And to be fair with you, I love Lacazette, and I think he's got qualities to help us next season and when he gets back in form. But if you, on top of Mkhitaryan going, the El Nenes, potentially Mustafi and Socrates, all of these sort of, maybe Ozil, wages can be found for Aubameyang sort of thing, people. Especially, you might sell Lacazette, you might sell Kolasinac, Bellerin's linked with moves away all the time. A decision has to be made on Kolasinac, Lacazette, who else is there? Eddie Nketiah. I'm not saying to sell him, but he's contracted until 2022, and you'd imagine Eddie's the next one to potentially sign a deal similar to Martinelli and Saka, to protect potential resale value and send out a message. Because Joe signed one, Saka signed one, Martinelli signed one. You'd imagine Eddie is going to be rewarded for his elevation in the squad. I'd imagine if he's not going to get a new deal, then there's something wrong. But for me, you've got to keep Aubameyang, man. He thrives on the wing. He thrives. We all want it through the middle, but he thrives on the wing. Thrives through the middle. Even been super sub. He's a good captain. He carries himself well. Clearly looks after himself, because touch wood, he's never injured, and he's never reporting back overweight and all of these things. He looks after himself, and it sends out stability. And even if, Aubameyang, if he can give us reality is, if he signs a 3-year deal, we shouldn't be relying on him in his 3rd year. I'm looking at the next 18 months, 12 years, 2 years, sorry. Let's fix up the team, like the spine. Let's give Arteta the best platform to implement what he wants to implement, and we go again. But for me as well, regardless of if Aubameyang signs a deal, you've got to be looking at that replacement from now, because eventually you will need to do that. Again, whether that's going to be Martinelli up front one day, whether Eddie Nketiah is going to develop. We've got a couple other young players, Greenwood, Balogun, Tyrese. Are they going to step up and do this thing? Who knows, people? But that's something we need to be planning. But in short, people, I'm so gassed that Aubameyang might sign a new deal. Again, urge caution until we see some official paperwork, or like Martinelli and Saka holding the thing. Obviously, I'm happy to see Martinelli's been rewarded for his good campaign. You know, obviously I'm happy to see he's got a new contract, wishing him the most speedy and correct recovery. And next season we go again, people, because right now for Saka and Martinelli, it's the honeymoon period. They can do no wrong. They're a breath of fresh air. Next year, certain fact, like it happened to Iwobi, Joe and Maitland, people are going to be on them. And for me, I'm not on them because they're still young. But I don't judge. I recognise Saka is young and that, but I don't judge him as a young player. Obviously, I comprehend he's young and give him a bit of bly, but I look at him as an experienced player purely because he's one of our best players right now, and he's playing like that. I believe Martinelli is that as well. I don't know why Arteta weren't starting him in that, but I believe Martinelli as well. But I want the expectation. You know, you got 10 league goals. Forgive me, Martinelli. Go on, 10 goals in all comps. Go and give me something similar or better. Saka's done very good in terms of goals and assists. For me in particular, assists. I want to see you do that again. I want to see you play well like you've been doing in midfield, on the flanks, on either side, right back, left back. Saka's a quality player, and like Arteta said, we need him to float a bit right now for us, and eventually he'll lock down a position which I believe is left or right wing. I don't think you can actually rule out centre mid now, because he looks quite good in that role. Fullback is also one he nailed down, people. So it's a good look. Hopefully Aubameyang signs a new deal. You know, hopefully you're hearing stuff about Partey and things like that. For me, I just want Arteta in pre-season to be given the right tools to have a real go at whatever goals he wants. We need to put in a proper fight for top 4. I want to get top 4 next year, but we need to. I don't think we've got the squad to do it, because the mentality is getting there, but it's not there collectively, and all the other things. And I believe the core of it is because of the personnel. Obviously, a lot of players have bad habits, and we can get into the micro issues if you want, but we're going to be here too long. I'm going to keep it moving, people. On that note, you know, like I said, man, congratulations Martinelli in addition to Saka. Hopefully it's positive news in relation to Aubameyang. But for now, people, DG, I'm out.